Hey guys, so I just want to share something. So yesterday, me and my husband, we finished House of David. And the House of David, if you haven't seen it, it's on Amazon Prime and it's an amazing story. They did an amazing job presenting the story of David. So I would highly recommend it. And the conversation of David started between me and my husband about some things, and it led to some things that I wanted to share today. So the passage that I'm going to be sharing from is 1 Samuel chapter 3 verse 8 through 10. And it says, the Lord called Samuel again for the third time, and he arose and went to Eli and said, "Here I am, for you called me." And Eli perceived that the Lord was calling the boy. Therefore Eli said to Samuel, "Go lay down, and if he calls you, you shall say, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant hears.'" So Samuel went and lay down in his place. And the Lord came and stood, calling as before, "Samuel, Samuel." And Samuel said, "Speak, for your servant hears." So last Thursday, I went to Harvest Church where the women were soaking in the presence of God and worshiping. And my spiritual mother shared with me some things that really hit home and really made me think about how I am hearing God and how I am connecting to Him on a spiritual level. And this passage was just confirmation, because sometimes I personally feel like I don't hear God's voice, but she confirmed that I am, and it's in my way, through worship and through stillness and through quietness and praying and fasting of what I've been doing the last couple of months. And this passage from 1 Samuel chapter 3 verse 8 through 10, it marks an important moment in Samuel's life as he learns to recognize and respond to God's voice. He didn't know that it was God's voice. He thought it was Eli's voice. But in the process, he learned how to recognize God's voice. So let's learn about a little bit of history in order to understand how to recognize God's voice and how it affected Samuel. Eli was the high priest, and Eli played a crucial role in helping Samuel understand what was happening. After Samuel mistakenly attributes the voice to Eli twice, Eli realizes that it's actually God calling Samuel, which this shows two things. Number one, it shows that spiritual guidance is essential. If Samuel did not have that spiritual guidance under Eli, he would not have been taught the proper way. Eli's experience and wisdom helped Samuel navigate the unexpected encounter with God. If he did not have Eli in his life at that moment, he would have continued hearing the voice and not seeking why he was hearing that voice. And number two, mentorship matters. Eli's guidance enabled Samuel to move forward in his relationship with God. It took his relationship to another level higher than before. But it was only because of that mentorship that he was able to move forward with that relationship with God. Which now let's focus on the third call, right? So when God called Samuel for the third time, not once, not twice, but when he called him for that third time, Eli told Samuel on how to respond. So this focuses on two areas: the importance of listening and the need for surrendering. The importance of listening is that Samuel was encouraged to listen carefully to God's voice, which demonstrated the value of attentiveness in our spiritual lives. Just like I had stated before, I thought that I was hearing God's voice, but I didn't understand what God's voice was. People would say, listen, God will speak. But it's three things. It's God's voice, our thoughts and the devil's thoughts. And growing up, I had no idea how to decipher between the three. But in this season, I'm learning how to decipher between the three. So now I'm able to say, okay, yes, that's definitely not my voice. And that may be definitely the devil's voice, the enemy's voice. And I know for a fact that that has to be God's voice, right? So I'm learning the difference of between the voices. And it's the need for surrendering. By saying, "Speak, Lord, for your servant hears," Samuel surrendered himself to God's will, showing a willingness to listen and to obey. He said, "I am here, speak." So he was preparing his heart and posturing his heart to be able to hear what God had to say to him, which leads to his response. So Samuel's response to God's call, is one of obedience and humility. Two things. He acknowledges God's authority and he expresses the willingness to learn and to listen. By acknowledging God's authority, and he was addressing God as Lord, Samuel recognizes God's severity and power. He said, "Lord, Lord, my Lord." Lord, he's saying he is my Lord, and he's recognizing that that is my Lord, and I'm going to serve him and I'm going to give him all the glory and honor. And he was expressing that willingness to listen to what God had for him. And he was demonstrating his commitment. He was saying, "I'm committed to hearing what you want me to say. Not my will, but yours be done," right? And so this passage overall has a lot of insights that we can learn from this and apply it to our own spiritual journeys. The number one thing is to be open to guidance. Just like Eli helped Samuel, we can seek guidance from spiritual mentors or leaders to deepen our understanding of God's voice. In this season of my life, I am under the covering of Bishop Dr. Edward Ramirez and also my spiritual mother, Ana Hernandez. Those two people, as well as other women of God and men of God, have been poured into my life. And I'm seeking that guidance to be able to elevate my relationship to a whole other level with God. And also, it's to cultivate a listening heart. Samuel's response encourages us to listen carefully to God's voice and surrender ourselves to his will so we can be able to understand God's voice and to be able to do what God is calling us to do. Which leads me to the last point, recognizing God's authority. Acknowledging God's sovereignty and power can help us approach our spiritual lives with humility and reverence. Reverence is vital in this season, and humility. We need to be able to humble ourselves and say, "Lord, examine me. Help me to examine myself so I can see what is not of you, so I can be able to push it away and put it to the side so I can focus my eyes on you," right? So by exploring this passage, by understanding the connection of Eli and Samuel and how to understand God's voice, we can gain a deeper understanding of the importance of listening to God's voice and responding with obedience and humility. Thank you. I hope this blesses you guys. I know it blesses me, and I just hope that this can encourage you to understand how to be obedient and have humility by understanding God's voice. Thank you.